Hi, you pals. It's me, Leanne, from My Big Adventure, and I'm here a day late for my week 4 VSG post-op update. Starting right out with the numbers, on May 23rd, 2014, I had vertical sleeve gastrectomy in Tijuana, Mexico with doctors Elmo and Rodriguez, and at the time of surgery, well, I don't know what I weighed anymore. Anyhow, I started out the pre-op diet at 278, and last week, for 2 weeks, actually almost 2 weeks, I was at 250 and with a frustrating stall. Finally this week I weighed yesterday and was 244, so I dropped about 6 pounds, a few tenths difference, but I'm not going to do that. So I'm happy to see the scales moving down again, and it's funny how your head does a number on you, especially when you're first starting and you haven't done the cycle thing with the stalls and getting over the stalls and a big weight loss and really tiny, weight losses for a few weeks. I just need a few more weeks so that I can relax when these things happen and not worry myself and freak out and just be totally convinced that I'm going to be that one person that somehow this procedure doesn't work for. I'm having a few struggles. As I said last week, the whole grieving for the way I used to be able to enjoy food is still kind of an issue, though it's sort of morphed into kind of an angry apathy. I guess that's an oxymoron, because if you're apathetic you don't feel angry, but for lack of a better term, my biggest problem is that I'm having trouble remembering to take little bites and chew them up really well and swallow and sit and rest a minute before you go for the second bite. When I'm hungry, especially if I've cooked something good that I'm looking forward to, it doesn't take but 1 or 2 bites of too big of bites and not enough chewing and not enough time in between, and that's all you get. Because it gets about this far, it feels like, and then it stops. You're uncomfortable, and you have to just stop eating and push your plate away, and whatever hunger you felt before is replaced by other uncomfortable, semi-painful feelings in your sleeve. So I get really angry at myself when I do that. Part of the frustration is that on the times that I do remember to concentrate, sit down and take my time and have little bites, and I can get in a half a cup, let's say, or some sort of a normal portion. Although by the third bite everything's cold and doesn't taste so good anymore. And so sometimes, rather than, like last night, I was going to cook dinner and I came in to do that, and my husband was already fixing himself instant macaroni and cheese. And so of course I'm not going to eat that. I realized I was on my own, and I thought, I'm just not going to fight with this tonight. I'm going to just have a protein shake and call it good. So I did. So I've been doing that. It's like, I'd rather just do the easy thing and get the eating out of the way so that I don't have to deal with frustration or worry about eating too fast and then stopping after 2 bites. And it's almost like I don't really look forward to eating, although it's sad because I've had people here and I've had to cook good food for them, and there's a part of me that says, ooh, let's have some of that. And unless I'm concentrating, sit down, focus on what you're doing, I don't enjoy eating, because I end up after 2 bites feeling restricted and I'm not really enjoying it. So anyway, that's so when I say I'm angry and apathetic at the same time. I'm apathetic about food. It's like, yeah, what's the point? I'd rather just deal with yogurt and cottage cheese because that's easy and it goes down easy than to try to deal with meat and really strong, dense protein choices. And then the anger is that, you know, I'm cooking food for people, which I do, you know, I mean, not just for my family, but I do it for a job, and I'm known for that. Go to Leanne's house and she'll fix you right up. My kids say, oh, Nana, you're the best cooker in the world. My grandkids do. Anyway, so it's weird. It's just weird, and it'll get better, I know. And thank you, all of you who've told me that, and I appreciate so much your encouragement, and I believe you that this too shall pass, and I'll figure it out. It's a really super steep learning curve right now. I've had lots of NSVs, too many to really list, and they aren't real big deals, really, and everybody that's done this experiences them, but I'll rattle a few off anyway, just because. First of all, I complained a lot in the beginning, in pre-op and all that, about how difficult it is to be 100 pounds overweight. Everything's hard. Everything is difficult. It's all hard. Doesn't matter whether you're climbing stairs or you're going over, you know, you're driving, you're getting in and out of your car, you're getting dressed, you're everything you do, you drop something on the floor and have to bend over and pick it up, which I am so klutzy, you guys. Sometimes I wonder if there's something wrong with me. I just drop and spill and break and just right along. So I'm constantly having to bend over and pick up after myself. Anyway, all those things caused me to grunt and oof and complain, and it was just hard to do anything. Like walking to the mailbox. And we live down a lane that's about a little less than a quarter of a mile long. So it's a little walk to the mailbox. But anyway, now, let's see, I've lost 34 pounds. Woo-hoo. And 34 pounds lighter, even though I still have a long, long way to go. I feel like things are getting easier. Everything. Getting dressed is easier. Walking up and down stairs is easier. Getting down on the ground with my grandkids and up again is easier. Picking up all the crap I drop on the floor is easier. Everything. Getting in and out of the car. The seatbelt fits better instead of wanting to sneak up and choke me around my neck. And so that I'm really grateful for, because it's like just as all those things that were so difficult before were a constant reminder of my obesity and how I hated that, and how it was just this constant black cloud over my life. The opposite is a reminder. I mean, it's a reminder of the hope now. Every time I used to bend over to pick up something, it was like, oh God, I'm so fat. I just hate this. This is just, when am I ever going to get it together? And now I bend over to pick something up. It's like, huh, that wasn't so bad. Look at me, you know. So I get a boost every time that there's some little physical thing going on that is easier now than it was before. And so that's like a constant stream of NSVs. Probably, well, of course, clothes. I have now completed going through every stitch of clothing that I own on the premises, everything in my closet, as well as 2 huge garbage bags full of clothes that I'd taken out of my closet out of frustration. I got that and thought I'd get into it, but now I'll never get into it. I'm sick of staring at all these clothes in my closet that I can't wear, that's like they're mocking me. And so plus I had all these the clothes that just were ugly. I mean, I go to thrift shops because to get big lady clothes, because who wants to spend a whole bunch of money on something to just cover you, because when you have no enthusiasm or feeling, I really envy, let's see, what's her name? Oh, Go Teams. she just was talking when Fly Lady and she got together about how she always just loved to dress, has always really had a nice wardrobe, and felt attractive in her skin, and you know, it never was a huge issue for her. And I see that I feel like she's my buddy, Elizabeth. She's a career girl, and she has lovely clothing from what I can tell. I don't own anything because I don't feel like I deserve to wear nice things because they never look good anyway, so what's the point? So I have all these clothes. Some of them I've bought from catalogs that were expensive, all the way down to the thrift store items. I've gone through every single thing that I own, and I have long ago given away stuff that's way too small for me. So I'm here to report that I missed some things. I thought, oh, I'll try that on in a while when I lose more weight. Then I try it on. It's like, oops, too big already, which is okay. I'll suffer through that. Now my closet is filled with things that fit, maybe are a little too big. I have a little pile of clothes to shrink into, not very many, and a lot to choose from right now. But once I get past the little pile of clothes to shrink into, I'm going to have to go get more. Oh well, I don't want to, but you know, I'm used to doing it the thrift shop way, so I won't spend. I'm certainly not going to order anything from catalogs or anything like that. So, a funny little story. I was over at my daughter's house last weekend, and when I left, I was wearing the same jeans that I've had since forever, and I thought I'd just wear them till they fell off. And my daughter said, "Mom, you really need to retire those jeans. You look like a buffoon." It's our little joke word, you know. So, not wanting to look like a buffoon, I did retire those jeans. Found some other kind of skinny jeans that are, well, they're getting too big now. So, woe is me. So that's really fun, to wake up and not dread getting dressed. I don't know if anybody else experienced that, but I always, every day, dreaded getting dressed because I knew I wouldn't find anything that I was pleased with, because you just, anyway. I had lunch with my dad in a restaurant this last week. We went to Applebee's because we always like to go there, and this is the first time that I've gone to any sit-down restaurant since my surgery, and the last time my dad and I went out to lunch a month and a half ago or so, it was pre-op, and we knew I was going to do this, but we were still just yum yum eating up all the stuff, and my dad's just like me. He wants his chocolate for dessert, even though neither of us needed it, and so we ordered some Gopsh's chocolate sundae or some equivalent. And this time he ordered the kind of things that he usually orders, and I'm looking at the menu and decide, well, I certainly don't want some huge plate of food. I ordered a bowl, and it was kind of a small bowl of tortilla soup, chicken tortilla soup. And so I did manage to eat slowly that time because there's lots of conversation. So I ate I probably altogether over time ate about a half a cup. And so just like I've heard other people talk about on these videos, the waitress comes over and she looks at my soup and she's like, "Is everything okay? Is it all right? Do you want something else?" And I just decided this is how I'm going to handle that. I just said, "Oh, no, it's delicious. I just had weight loss surgery, though, not long ago, so I just can't eat very much, but the soup is delicious. And I'm never going to see her again, and I don't care what she thinks anyway." And so she was comforted instantly, and I just told her the truth, and it was a done deal. We didn't have to worry about anything, so that was kind of fun. I do find that I do get interesting reactions from other people in my life. The day I had lunch with my dad, I, of course, visited with Mom. She doesn't leave the house, so she doesn't come with us when we go out to lunch, but I've mentioned before, and for anybody who doesn't want to go back and watch all my videos, I think one of the big reasons that I've had a weight problem all my life, besides the genetic factor, I'm built just like my dad. Well, not exactly like him, but pretty much. My mom was always skinny as a rail and harped at me from the time, as far back as I can remember, about being chubby. And when I've lost weight before, she's harped at me up until a few years ago when I told her it wasn't allowed anymore, that it was not a topic that I was going to participate in with her, because she always needed to speak to me about my weight problem every time we spoke. So I took that away from her, and she can't. And so when I told her I was going to do this thing, she had all kinds of reservations, but said, "Oh, I'm so happy for you. I really hope this works out." Now she says, first of all, she doesn't acknowledge that she notices any difference, which I don't really half the time either, other than maybe my face is a little slimmer, but my clothes don't lie, so she would never give me a compliment. And then she asked me questions like, "Well, how much do you think you're going to lose?" And I told her what I told her before, which is, I don't know. "Do you have a goal?" Not so much. I have a ballpark area, but I won't. It's been a long time since I've been there, so I won't know really if that's right for me till I get there. "Well, you don't want to get too thin now." And then she has a bowl of candy in her room and is offering me a Hershey's mini Hershey bar. So what do you suppose that's all about? It's just so interesting. I have other friends who ask me questions that about how it is to do this, how it feels to not be able to eat everything, and what it feels like to eat, and how do you know you're full, and do you think about food all the time, and all that. And maybe it's just me, maybe I'm projecting this, I don't know, but I think that there are friends that are a little bit put out, maybe, that I've done this thing, because so much of our friendships these days revolve around food. And when we get together with our girlfriends, it's to go out to lunch or go out to dinner or go eat something somewhere or cook for each other or whatever. And I think that there are perhaps friends who are a little pissed, maybe not consciously, but it feels like that. Nobody's ever said that, but it feels like that. The questions that they ask me are begging for a negative answer, kind of. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but I find it interesting. I mean, on the surface and certainly consciously, all my friends that know about this say a lot of supportive things. They're happy for me and all of that. But it almost seems like if you read between the lines, maybe they're also resentful a little bit that a part of our activities and friendship and the eating part is not going to be like it was for me. I mean, it can be however they want it to be, but anyway. So I think that the biggest I'm skipping around, sorry. I wanted to close with the fact that the biggest NSV, that's a non-scale victory for those who don't know, is the fact that from the moment I sent the money in and made the plans and bought the airline tickets to do this, little by little, I felt the black cloud of self-hate start to lift from me, and in its place has seeped in, even then, before I lost an ounce, hope, real hope, for the first time ever, really. And I'm old. I know I keep saying that. I shouldn't, maybe, huh? I'm not old, but let's just say I've fought this battle for a long time, and just like I said before, how there's 1,000 little reminders every day when you're obese, that you're obese, all the things that are uncomfortable or difficult or that you choose not to do because of your weight, little tiny things that you don't talk about, tying your shoes, getting out of the bathtub. Every time I'd have one of those post my VSG aha, when I discovered it, was accompanied by a self-hate talk in my head about, oh, and I mean, it wasn't like I'd say, I hate myself, I loathe myself, but those were the thoughts, and they are all gone now, even though I still have 70 pounds to lose-ish. Maybe not so much 70, maybe 65. Anyway, and so I'm a long way from where I'm thinking I probably want to be. The fact that that black cloud and those negative self-loathing dialogues that used to go on in my head constantly are gone and replaced by hope and enthusiasm is such a gift. I can't begin to explain what a huge gift that has been for me, because I've never been able to quiet that voice, and now that voice is gone. So as much as I might whine about struggling with learning to eat slowly enough so that I can enjoy food, and it's not even worth the bother to eat, and I'll just have a protein shake instead, and all that whining, let me tell you, I wouldn't go back and trade what I've done for anything in the world. I am so grateful. And so, if any of you are out there thinking about doing this, and you're watching this, just drop me a line and I'll tell you how wonderful it is. So anyway, congratulations to everybody who's lost. In fact, I think everybody that was stalling along with me has broken their stall. So congratulations, yay! Our scales are moving again, and we've proved, those of us who are just barely out of surgery within the first month, we've shown ourselves that when we stall, it doesn't mean it's the end of losing. It means it's a pause, and that's about it. And so yay for all of us that are learning that, and may the next stall be less stressful. So everybody have a good night and a happy solstice, and I'll talk to you next time. I always do this backwards.